All right, this is going to be a live sales call recording with a copywriting client I had yesterday. So I'm going to take you through the flow, the structure, all the questions I ask my clients, coming from someone who 6 to 8 months ago would close his laptop when the client asked a question I didn't have an answer to. I've come quite a far way. So hopefully you can learn a lot. Hopefully you can have some, major takeaways. If you want a summary of this entire, my call structure, go in the description, join the school, and steal the sales call document. It's somewhere in the resources. Let's go ahead and get started.
Obviously, you stood out, and I like the fact that handsome guy with a moustache. That's true, I guess. Young handsome guy with a moustache, I guess. But that's brilliant because from a marketing perspective, if you look at AIDA, attention, interest, desire, action.
Yeah. So he just mentioned a copywriting framework, and that being AIDA, attention, interest, desire, action. And so I'll put up a message of what he sent to me when I applied for this job. But he said, you did a very great job. You did an amazing job at capturing my attention and creating interest for me to kind of want to click on your proposal. So as you can see, it is paying off. Reading those books, the Boron Letters, Take Their Money, Cashvertising, I say, and I tell you guys to read those books because even when I'm applying to jobs, even if it's copy in my emails for outreach, it is still paying off. And I got this, hopefully, I got this job all because of AIDA, because I was able to capture his attention or get his awareness for my proposal. So I'm gonna keep this playing.
Attention. And then I went to interest, which was your page, and then I saw obviously you've been posting. And the thing is, it starts with yourself, really, isn't it? You know, who you are, your goals, your drive, and things like that. So I guess my only concern, Trey, would be obviously you get your own brand, so you're going to put your own brand first. I get it. I would do the same as well.
So he mentioned the word concern. That should be setting off alarms in your head. He's about to hit me with an objection, and I knew he was. That's why if you go back a bit, you can kind of see me scrolling. I'm trying to gather some information just to kind of handle that objection, and I want to be sure I know everything about the job possible. So you can see me scroll up. Watch.
Obviously, you get your own brand, so you're going to put your own brand first. I get it. I would do the same as well. It's how do you mix that with, obviously, with other people's, because you're entrepreneurial clearly, and there's something good about that because obviously you're building your own thing as well. But how do you gauge it so that you're still doing the work that you need to for your clients? Because there's a danger when you work for your clients, it's like, I really want to get my video done. Right. So how do you balance that? How do you find?
So just to say what he said, just to rephrase what he said, how are you able to manage both your own work for building your personal brand and how are you able to manage the client work? And so this is my response.
Does that mean a problem for you? Or?
Well, yeah, Tommy, I think that's a great question, a good concern to kind of speak about. I think for me, what it's come down to is my systems and my planning. I'm 30 days ahead on my personal content. That's on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. I've mapped out the next 90 days for myself. Being a social media manager, kind of that planning process is key to the consistency part. And so I'm already ahead of schedule. And I've kind of built and I've failed enough times in the past to kind of know where those pitfalls are and how to kind of avoid those going forward. So as far as delegating between clients and my own work, it's really already done. I have routines. I'm up at 5 a.m. most days, and so I'm able to manage both at the same time without really any sort of issues.
And then you stop talking. You don't add anything further. I did honestly more than enough talking during that objection. And so I think I handled it pretty well. I've gotten that objection before, and so I've honestly studied that exact response on a flashcard. It's not word for word, but understanding what objections come up, time and time again, I've seen this objection 3 calls ago. So I know how to handle it. And again, I just made a flashcard and kind of had a rough idea of what a good response would look like, and you can kind of see he's nodding his head. He agrees with what I'm saying.
Right, okay. What programs are you using then? Is it CapCut you're using?
Correct. CapCut, Premiere Pro. Those are the main two editing platforms. I don't use DaVinci, and then Photoshop, Canva for graphics.
Okay, so Canva as well. So, what about AI? How much?
Super important thing to mention here: incorporate their lingo, incorporate words they use within their niche. So this guy he was looking for a social media manager and copywriter. So mentioning things like Ada, copywriting frameworks, Canva, CapCut, Premiere Pro, Photoshop. These are all keywords that people want to hear. I'd even throw in something like Notion. A lot of business owners want to know that you're familiar with those kind of softwares, and so mention that within a sales call.
Searching the AI, do you use AI much, or what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I've paid for the ChatGPT. I have the ChatGPT Plus. I love it. I use it pretty often to help me script write, to help me write content, ideate content. I break down other people's scripts, why that video is performing well. So I use it all the time, even workout routines, marathon training plans. I mean, I use it all the time in my daily life.
Brilliant, that's good. So I think that's the thing as well, is that, yeah, I think there's tools there. If there's tools there, then, use them. I'm not opposed to using.
So I'm going to go ahead and fast forward a bit.
Business owner, I can schedule 2 months of content, and it seems to come by so quickly.
Yeah.
And then within 2 months up, it's like, oh, no, that shit.
Okay, so this is super important. You can see emotionally it is kind of not harming him, but it's a pain point of his. You can see by the look on his face, he was talking about planning content is just such a pain. So that is also setting off an alarm in my head. I know that he's maybe not capable, but it is very time consuming to do something like planning content. So playing on that is super critical, which I think I do after the sales call. Or after this.
And then it's like 2 weeks I posted nothing.
Yeah.
And I need to get the content, and obviously you can regurgitate content, but it's about making sure you're always staying ahead, you're always keeping it fresh. What's your thoughts about other platforms? Do you post the exact same content on other platforms? Do you tweak it in any way? Or do you just...
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's as needed. Some clients want the same thing across all. Me personally, I like to mix. So I like posting a certain video on Instagram on Monday, and that same video will go to LinkedIn the following Monday. And so it's kind of just a puzzle. It kind of just ladders and it kind of just switches off. As far as kind of being as different as possible, captions as needed can be changed if that's something you're looking for.
So I don't think I did it here, but at some point in the call, I did say, and I should have said here, this would be a good fix for anyone listening. His objection was kind of how time consuming and how quickly videos kind of go through. Like Tommy, completely hear you on this. Something like staying consistent and kind of staying ahead is super, super time consuming. I get it as a content creator. Saying something like that and then jumping into what I just said about mixing and matching content would have been a better response.
I know I personally don't like to see the same post with the same...
I'm actually going to go ahead and skip through.
It's just so much spam.
To fill you in, he's talking about how the fact that LinkedIn is very spammy and he doesn't like the platform, and you'll see how I handle his objection. He thinks it's not worth posting, but if he does post on that platform, I could potentially add another $500 to $1,000 a month to my retainer. So you'll hear how I handle this.
And everybody's trying to sell you. I've never tried to sell. I always let people come to me.
Mm-hmm.
It's always been a magnet of putting stuff out, and if people like it, they come. But LinkedIn seems to be, oh, lovely to connect with you. Can I sell you this?
Yeah.
Lovely to connect with you, and that's just horrible.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think like you said, with an entrepreneurial mind, the both of us, I think it's also an opportunity for sure. I think because there's a huge market of people just sending spammy emails or sending spammy DMs, I think it's also a way to stand out. You can be the one that's unique, personalized with Loom videos, Loom outreach, just personalization. I think people don't see that on the platform, myself included. And when someone does, you stand out. And so I think it's another way to get clients.
So why would you use Loom for videos? Is that for screen sharing your work or?
Correct. Yeah. So sometimes I have a presentation I want to show someone, and maybe I pull up their page, their Instagram page or their LinkedIn page, and just seeing that I'm actually physically on their page in a video and they see my face. I've gotten really positive response rate from that.
That's excellent. I've seen that strategy on with fitness trainers and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Is it Brian Mark, one of the boys I follow? He's really good, but then I guess like this is your Instagram review, and then you'll basically go on and change this profile, scroll that out.
Exactly.
I teach fitness to who?
Yeah.
I specifically help women in their 30s with back problems or whatever it is, but get specific, and you'll give them an Instagram review.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a great strategy, and it's obviously working well for them. Brilliant. So, what's your own goals and aspirations in terms of? I liked your content on your page. What's the point of that content? What are you hopeful of? Where do you see yourself coaching people in marketing or business, or what's your?
So I think a lot of people would maybe ignore this sort of question, but it gets asked quite a bit. Tell me a bit about yourself. Tell me about your goals. Having a good response for this is super, super important. And so again, I have practiced on a flashcard some of the key points that I want to, key goals I want to hit over the next couple of years. So again, have a good little story, have some goals you have in your head. People ask this question very, very often on sales calls. And if you have a good answer, you will definitely get a lot more closes, I have noticed.
Where's your page going?
Yeah, I think right now my success metric is strictly quantity based. I'm just looking to get up 365 posts on all platforms. I think from that, I'm just looking to get a better understanding, grow my skill set of video editing, content creation, and of course, building a brand, building an audience, I think is super, super important. And like you said, coaching as well, absolutely something in the pipeline. I have a couple courses I'm working on, a mastermind group I'm currently working on. And so I think there's a lot of long-term projects. A book is something also I'd like to write in the future, but I think I'm just in the educational phase right now, teaching myself. A lot of the videos you see are really just all about books I've read, podcasts I listen to, and I'm just kind of expanding on the topic. And so,
what's your favorite podcast books? What you listen to?
Yeah, I listen to a lot of Tim Ferriss. Who else do I like?
So you may not think much of that question he just asked, but what are a couple of your favorite podcasts? Instead of just naming my actual favorite, I looked at his age demographic. I figure he's between 35 to 50 years old, somewhere in there. And I said, here are a couple of podcasts I think he would recognize. Tim Ferriss was the first one. And you can see if we go back, look at what he does.
And so,
what's your favorite podcast books? What you listen to?
Yeah, I listen to a lot of Tim Ferriss. Who else do I listen to? A lot of.
You can see he goes down to grab the pen and he starts writing, which is a good sign. That is sending off alarms. You can see I'm not looking in the frame at him, but I can see him writing. So I know in my head that is a green light. Keep listing off names within that same age demographic.
Mel Robbins, if you're familiar. The Chris Williams podcast, Huberman Lab, things like that. That's kind of my thing.
Yeah. Tim Ferriss, I read the 4 Hour Work Week about 20 years ago or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a game changer, really, in terms of when you get that mindset of outsourcing.
Mm-hmm.
So Upwork, perfect example of that. That's outsourcing labour for time. But it's things that you just don't have time for right now is obviously a good place to go for it. So any questions you've got for me, Tre? That's pretty much more or less it.
This is super, super important. When a client asks, do you have any questions for me? This is my go-to question. I get compliments about it. And sometimes people go silent when I ask this question. I believe I ask it, but.
Today was just really making me feel for who you are and what you do and stuff like that. Any questions you'd like to ask?
Yeah, Tom, I think we've gone over a ton of really good topics. I was just curious, how how much do you have for a project like this? And
I think I actually already asked the question earlier in the call, but what I would have liked to say during this is definitely how much are you looking to spend on a project like this? Very important question to ask. But the question I was thinking of is what does a successful 30, 60 to 90 day marketing / execution plan for your business, what does that look like? What does success look like to you? If they can't define that, they may be a tough client to work with because they're going to be expecting the world of you. But if they can give you a metric or a concept of maybe it's just consistency that I'm looking for, that makes it a whole lot easier. And that is the goal I'm trying to reach. I'm just trying to stay consistent. I'm trying to hit 3,000 views. I'm trying to find a style they like. When you kind of don't know or you're unfamiliar with the goal of the business owner, things can get pretty cloudy and they can sometimes take it out on you, and then you could end up with a bad review. So on this discovery call, on this first call, it's super important you get a gauge for one, why they're there, but also where they want to be. So I'll let this continue playing out. I do believe I already asked it earlier in the call, but something asking like project price, how much he has for the project, super important. So I'll play this out over here.
I don't think it would need much more than that. What would I be looking for? How would I know?
So super important metric to also ask. I asked earlier about how much do you have for a project like this, but the question I was trying to get to was how many hours do you think this job will take week to week? And he ends up saying roughly 20 to 25.
Would be successful. Well, I think the first part of that would be copy and paste of what we've done. So that would be me presenting you a client's project, telling you the storyboards that we would run, telling you how I would utilise that content, then give you an example of one that we've done. So, for instance, if I go out and do a client project, I'm filming all the kitchen. I then take about 30 pictures of the kitchen. I then take a second video of me talking to the client and asking about their experience, and I then do a third video of me in the kitchen. So that's me going 5 things you should consider before you buy your next kitchen. Don't buy your kitchen until you watch this video. Want to see what this kitchen started out like? Watch this. And I'll do a few intros, and then I'll grab the camera here and I'll go in and I'll touch the hob, put the hobble in, I'll wash the sink, wash my hands in it. I'll then shoot me open a couple of the corner cabinets. And that's all stock footage. So then what we would do is create a video of 5 things I like in the kitchen, and it would be the sink, here's what we did here, here's this, here's that, here's that. So then we do a picture reel where we take the 30 pictures I've done and you maybe narrow it down to 10 best pictures where you're showcasing different angles. That's magic. So I think that's really it for us. Obviously, it's late over here in the UK, well, not late, but it's half 8. So I'll have a wee think about a conversation. I'll maybe come back to you tomorrow with some questions. I've interviewed everybody I want to interview, so it's really just a matter of letting that settle in, and then I would imagine tomorrow, worst case Thursday, if I get carried away with any business stuff tomorrow. Hopefully tomorrow I can maybe come back to you with other follow-up questions or tell you how we're going to move forward. Trey, all right?
Awesome, Tommy. Thank you so much for meeting with me.
You're welcome, mate, and good luck on your entrepreneurial journey, all right?
Thank you. Take care.
All right, mate. See you soon, all right? You take care. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.
So that last part of the call was super, super important. He told me when to expect an answer back from him, and he said either tomorrow or by Friday. That is a question you should be usually asking if they don't answer that themselves or tell you that themselves. Say, when can I expect an answer from you? When will you be making a decision on who's going to fill this position or fill this role? They'll always, of course, tell you by the end of the week, by the end of next week, I'll get back to you. And so what I do then is transfer them over to the sales performance tracker. So as you can see, this was Tommy I had a call with on the 28th, which was yesterday. This was the pricing, call length. I included the Google Drive recording. Outcomes pending, because I haven't heard back from him. And I'll just kind of go through this with you. So my emotions, just organized. calm, felt really good. Conclusion, getting back to me tomorrow, Jan 29th, which would be today, or by Friday, I should say. None. That's it. And as you can see, and I also have another call that is pending, which I haven't gone over. It's a bit of a lower ticket price, but it's pretty straightforward. It's pretty easy. So I'm waiting to hear back from Garrett as well. So that is going to be it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. Bit of a shorter sales call. There's going to be more videos similar to this. If you're looking for a specific type of video, just leave it in the comments and I can be sure to make it. Turn on notifications, like the video, subscribe. It helps me out a ton. You guys have been showing a ton of support, which is why I'm cranking out 3 to 5 videos a week sometimes. So the more support, the better. That keeps me motivated, keeps me happy. Tons and tons of resources in the description. So join the school, check out my Instagram, stalk it, steal all the information on there. That's it for the video. Thank you guys for watching. See you soon.